Procrastination can get the best of us at times, and it's one of those things that creeps up on you, even when you know you have something important or a deadline or a task to do, and without any logical reason we still continue to make the same mistakes, even if we know it would lead to a path of frustration, anxiety and self-hatred. When I was in uni, I remember in my first year, I would be that person. I would get a project, start off with good intentions, and I'd feel excited and eager to get all my ideas down on paper. And slowly after a few weeks, there would be a gradual drop in productivity, and ultimately I would leave my project until the last minute. For my particular degree, it was all project based, so I thought worst case scenario, I could leave it till maybe the last few weeks or days and I'll be able to stay up and get everything done, and thought that should be enough. But the problem was, it never was enough. The deadline would approach, I'd get the work done, but it would never be the best of what I could actually produce. And I'd kick myself saying, why did I not start this project earlier? So I stumbled across this guy called Tim Urban, and he basically talks about procrastination and he explains his theory. So he explains there's two types of procrastination. There's ones with deadlines, and that means that the procrastination is contained and you can only procrastinate before this date. And there's another type of procrastination. There's procrastinations without deadlines. This is essentially long-term procrastination. So this could be anything like, you may want to start a side hustle or learn to play an instrument or learn a language that you've been putting off for all this time. It's something that needs to be self-started. And he also mentions quite interestingly that we have two sides to ourselves. There's one side that's like a rational side of our brain. It's the part of us that wants to get things done and thinks long term and wants to do the right thing essentially. And then there's the other part of our brain, which is the irrational side of ourselves, which he calls, quite funnily enough, the instant gratification monkey. So this side only wants to think about the present moment, has no memory of the past and no knowledge of the future, and only cares about two things: easy and fun. And this was quite interesting, I found, and it makes a lot of sense. When I think about it, my rational side is always thinking about the future, always outlining things I want to get done and ultimately looking at the bigger picture. But every now and again, my rational side wants to fight and feed into the impulse of taking the easy route. What's more interestingly is that there's this type of resistance that starts to build when you're procrastinating, and it's kind of essentially like a pain, and it gets so painful to the point where it's actually paralyzing. And I'm sure you've heard the term analysis paralysis. And this is the term where you overanalyze or overthink situations with no forward motion or decision making. And talking about that, going back to Tim Urban's point of long-term procrastination, I think this is what's most dangerous and what affects the majority of us. And it comes in many forms. You might make a decision, you might question it, you might change your mind, you might be hesitant or vague or lack any type of clarity. Essentially, we procrastinate when we fear difficult situations. In some ways or another, it's a type of self-protection against the unknown or failure, putting things off for one day, weeks, months, or even years. And this is what often makes you feel as if you're a spectator in your own life, wondering where all that time went. Now, I've realized over time, taking that first step of action to get over that momentary, immediate pain is the key to getting over procrastination. And for the most part, when I'm 20, 30 minutes into doing something, I realize that being in the middle of doing the task is usually less painful than being in the middle of actually procrastinating. The book author Rob Bond puts this in simpler terms, and he states, when you put things off, they rot. They rot until they stink. A decision not to do nothing is still to put it off. To bury your head in the sand is still a decision, and it does not go away. So start now. Make that decision to take action. Once you've taken action, you can take a step back and you can ask yourself, do you still want to do this? You can't control everything, but you can control the decisions you make. Action is what's going to get you over the finish line. Action will allow you to see what's working well and what isn't. And you can embrace those mistakes, and then you'll realize that it's part of the process. Action will allow you to start to believe you're capable of doing anything. For me, gaining clarity is a work in progress, and it always will be, because life simply isn't clear cut. But having elements of clarity helps me know what's important. So there you have it, guys. That's my take on procrastination. If you did like this video, please hit that like button. And if you've got any comments and any suggestions that you'd like to see, please comment below, and I'll see you guys in another one.